Oh, hi. Excuse me. Just listening to the Beatles here, going over this reteaching, kind of like 6.6 reteaching, similar problems. So I have two equations here. If you're looking, are you looking? We have function of f, we have the function of g. For all of these problems, we're going back to those two functions because whenever we see an f or a g with an x in it, that means we're talking about those actual equations. So my first one, hoorah, I'm subtracting here. Subtracting, you want to make sure to write it out. And my function of f first. My function of f was x plus 6. Subtract. In parentheses, you want to put the function of g. You're subtracting your two functions. You always want to make sure that is in parentheses. Why? Subtraction is a -1. So that means this whole thing has to be multiplied by a -1. So I have x plus 6 minus x squared minus 3x plus 18. And I look at like terms here. Nothing's like that. These were like and these were like a negative x squared. X minus 3x is negative 2x. 6 plus 18 is positive 24. That's my answer for the first one when I'm subtracting. Question number 2, it says 2 times the function of f. So it's 2 times my whole function of f, which is x plus 6. Subtract 3 times my function of g. So I have x squared plus 3x minus 18. The hardest part for these problems is knowing what should you actually write out. So I'm plugging in my function of f, my function of g. Now I'm simplifying. Multiplying by by 2, multiply by a -3. Again, subtraction is a negative. This becomes 2x plus 12. This becomes a negative 3x squared minus 9x plus 54. Again, looking for like terms. Nothing's like that one. These were like, and these were like. So my highest degree comes first, so negative 3x squared is first. Combine x, or 2x minus 9x would give me negative 7x. 12 plus 54 give me positive 66. And that right there's my final answer. Third question. Now, one thing when I'm looking at any of these problems, if my question starts with a number, my answer should be a number. The two problems I just did beforehand, my question started with an x, so I ended with a value with x value. In this case, I'm going to rewrite this. This is a composition question. This says the function of f evaluated at 3 inside the function of g. The first thing I'm going to do is this inside part. So if I look at this, I'm plugging 3 into my function of f. My function of f was x, but instead of writing x, I do 3 plus 6. So that's equal to 9. That means this section right here, this right here is equal to 9. So when I rewrite that, instead of writing the function of f, I already know I evaluated that was at 9. So I do the same thing here. Plug it into my function of g. My function of g was x squared. I'm replacing 9 for my x. Plus 3 times x. So there's 2 x's. I replace that 9 in both locations. Subtract 18. And if I put this whole shebang into my calculator, I'll get 90 out. Again, if you start with a number, you should end with a number. So that right there is my final answer. Now, this is composition. This is saying something inside of another one. So I'm going to replace this. This is saying the function of g inside the function of g. So my function of g, I'm going to leave out there. I have to write, what is my function of g? Well, that's x squared plus 3x plus 18. You're putting it inside of itself. Now, again, I'm going to rewrite my function of g is the same thing as x squared plus 3x minus 18. Because in this problem, it's saying wherever there's an x, you're plugging this equation into it. You're plugging that equation in wherever there's an x. So in this case, I'm plugging x squared plus 3x minus 18 in for the x there, so that's squared, plus 3 x squared plus the x minus 18, and then minus 18. You can leave your answer just like this. If for some reason you have a trinomial, what's a trinomial? There's 3 different terms here. If you have a trinomial squared, you can leave your answer just like this and I will accept it just like that, as long as it is written correctly. So again, another composition problem. So this is the function of f. It's saying plug in the function of g. This is my function of g. So I'm replacing my function of g right in that location. So instead of writing function of g here, I write what the function of g is actually equal to. Okay, my function of f was x plus 6, because now you are replacing this with any x. You're switching it out. This is your input. So now here I have, this is my, what I'm replacing for my input. That's my x plus 6. Now this one you should simplify, and you can, because those are like terms. So my final answer would be x squared plus 3x. Negative 18 plus 6 would give me a negative 12, and that there would be my final answer. And last but not least, this is going to be a doozy of one. A doozy. Prepare for it, okay? Just finding a cool color. So this same thing is the function of g, function of x. Okay, that's what the GOF means. Your composition. You're putting the function of f inside the function of g. So again, my function of f was x plus 6. Now this is saying wherever I see an x, so this is, my function of g was x squared plus 3x subtract 18. This is saying this is going in for my input. So this is my x squared plus 3x minus 18. This one is going to be much longer because this one I actually have to FOIL here. So I have to do this part first to FOIL that out. My first, my outside, my inside, and my last. That's just me FOILing out this first part. Okay, now I'm going to also distribute this 3, so I'm simplifying here. This is plus 3x. And then I'm going to do the 3 times 6, that's plus 18. Okay, that was me doing this part right here. And then I still have the subtract 18 at the end. So now when I'm looking at this problem, I'm looking to combine any like terms that I have. So I have an x squared here. There's another x squared. Here's an x, here's an x, here's an x. Here's a number, here's a number, here's a number. So now I'm just combining all my like terms. There's nothing to be combined with my x squared. Now I'm going to look up my terms that have the x. So 6x plus 6x is 12x, plus another 3x would give me 15x. And I have 36 plus 18, subtract 18. These two would cancel each other out, so I just have plus 36 in the end. And this right here would be my final answer. There you go, cool cats. Have a great, grand, wonderful day, or evening, or morning, whenever you are doing this. Have a good one.